Our next guest, always a pleasure to have with us. He's with, of course, IBM, a global integrated technology and consulting company headquartered in Armonk, New York. And I'll ask him, why is that important? Maybe they should be headquartered in our town of Miami or here in Berlin. They're a global company. General Manager for IBM Global Electronics Industry is, in fact, Bruce Anderson. Bruce, welcome back into Tomorrow. How are you?
I'm doing well, Dave. Thanks for having me back again.
It's a pleasure. Why is it important that I said it's headquartered in Armonk, New York? Is that like a legacy thing or something?
That's where it all started, Dave. But, we're a global company. We're in 170 different countries around the world, and IBM is pretty much everywhere and, probably most days anywhere except New York.
Yeah, exactly. It's this technology expanding literally globally, thus your title of General Manager for the Global Electronics Industry. I mean, that has you literally globe hopping all the time and looking at new tech and partnerships and all kinds of fun things going on.
Absolutely, Dave. I've just recently left Shanghai. After a couple of years there, I'm now living in Tokyo. So working with a lot of our Japanese clients.
And before Shanghai, where were you?
In Chicago and traveling from there. So.
Oh my gosh. I always tell people these bags under my eyes really are my luggage, and you can probably relate, only you don't have that problem. But consumer electronics companies, of course, certainly a great number of them. Most of the big players are here at IFA, where they should be. Where are they on the whole connected products thing as you see it?
Well, Dave, they're in the middle. Some are way out in front on this, and they've been pushing into different product categories, looking for why would consumers want these products to be connected in the first place. And really developing a lot of those business cases, use cases to get that out there, because it's not free to add the connectivity.
Yeah.
But as you look at it, they're starting really now to start to understand what is it that the consumers value, what will they pay extra for, why will they choose my product over someone else's product if I offer that type of a connection.
And does everything really need to be connected? A lot of our listeners are always saying, well, it's cool to hear you talk about these things, but do I need my toaster to text me? Do I need my washing machine to tell me, okay, it's ready to move to the dryer? Now, some of those things, I think a lot of folks might argue, yeah, take advantage of the technology. Why not? But are some just kind of pie in the sky, and just because you can doesn't mean you have to?
Dave, it's really interesting because what's happening is a lot of the big consumer electronics companies are trying different things and probably a little timid in how fast they're willing to go. They're worried about those consumers. A lot of very small companies here at the show and in other shows are very aggressive in the kinds of value propositions they're putting out there for consumers. So you're seeing things like teapots get connected to figure out, is my grandmother making tea somewhere in Japan? We're seeing alarm clocks get connected, and do I have the latest music on my alarm clock that I could download?
But now some of those, like that last example, is probably a great example for those who like to wake to music and want to wake maybe to their latest and greatest tunes that they've got on their MP3 player or other device, and I can see that. But you're right about now the teapot. Is that something that's really that important? If it's medically related, and the son or daughter needs to know if mom or grandma is doing the right thing, absolutely. You can certainly see those justifications. But some of the things, I wonder if some of the folks in the industry are doing it again just because we can, and one day we might find a helpful use for it.
Yeah, I do think, Dave, that the firms are being fairly discriminating on what they're trying to automate, what they're trying to connect. They don't want to disturb their core franchise with their customers. But what's interesting is they're hitting various, I'll say, development challenges and actually getting some of these things built and out there. And so one of the things that IBM is showing here today at the show is how we use the IBM Bluemix platform to actually make it easier. So you can do a little more experimentation.
Sure.
So if you were taking years to get these products built, well, that's pretty expensive. But literally we're hooking up electronic products in a matter of days and weeks. And actually allowing the firms now to get out there and experiment a little bit. So a little bit cheaper to find out if there really is a value proposition out there for these products.
So especially for some of these smaller companies, that sort of thing might have been a real obstacle is now an opportunity. And they're able to say, you know what, we've got an idea, now we can pursue it and not wait months or years to see if it's going to work. We've got days or weeks to determine where we're headed now.
Exactly. So, and with some of the technical challenges, even some of the suppliers like Diehl in Germany, who supplies a lot of the consumer electronics companies, has built different gateways and things that they can put inside their products, but they're doing it on the IBM Bluemix platform. And that's something we've made available in the IBM cloud for a lot of the consumer electronics companies, really just to start to play around and see how hard is it to get the data from the consumer, from the device, back into our enterprise and figure out, what services could we provide to the consumer to make it even more valuable for them, to make the experience with their product magical as opposed to, sort of humdrum.
Yeah, exactly. Now, would some of that involve what is being more and more commonly known as big data?
It is, Dave, and that's really where it's not just where did they click or what did they type in. Video is involved now. Where are they using the product in the world? GPS is involved now. All that kind of unstructured data, and so companies are really rethinking what's my value proposition to the consumer. Is the device really sort of the Trojan horse to really get to know what that consumer wants? And once I have the data and I can analyze it and I can go back to them with a very different value proposition.
And how do you describe what big data is for those that are listening saying, okay, I'm hearing more and more about it, but what the heck is that? Does that just mean, large storage capacity? Does it mean a big product that somehow uses data? How do you describe big data?
Both what you're saying, Dave, massive amounts of data, but also structured data like we're used to, in information technology systems, but unstructured data like video, like location, like time series data, things like that can be analyzed very quickly and then put back to the consumer in order to give them a very different value proposition.
Tell me about harnessing the power of big data, because we've got the IBM Big Data Platform. I just happen to have, apparently it's a book.
It is.
And I happen to have the e-version of the book right here on an iPad. Go figure. It is 2014 after all,
yes.
Right? So tell me about the IBM Big Data Platform. Is that part of this Bluemix that you were referring to?
It's easily accessed through that, but IBM has taken made a major investment in trying to get a lot of analytics capabilities inside of our company, but then make those available to our customers. So as you're collecting all of this structured and unstructured data, you have to have ways of analyzing it, of using it, and creating that value proposition back to the consumer. So in this book, what we've done is tried to give a little bit of a primer for a lot of companies to start to experiment with big data and see where can they get that value proposition. I'm working with one white goods company, and they're basically taking everything that's trapped inside their washing machine and uploading it,
like the hidden socks?
You got it, exactly. They're going to tell you where do they put those socks.
So now
time.
If big data connected to my washing machine will find those lost socks, now you see we've accomplished something.
You got a value proposition.
Exactly. I think it's been an age-old problem since they just beat socks on a rock at the river. I lost one. But now big data might help us find them, among other things.
Among other things, yeah. But a lot of companies, their core competence has been building products, and they really weren't used to this data idea. What should we do with all of this?
Yeah.
And they really, when you look at how fast this data can be collected and analyzed, you're really starting to take a look and say, I can fundamentally change the way that my product is used. We're seeing that clearly on smartphones and tablets and things like that. The kinds of things that you carry around, as you're walking around town and trying to find a restaurant. So the applications are pretty obvious there. They're not so obvious as you get into other products. And so I think big data, you're really going to start to understand how is the consumer starting to use your product, but then also merging in information from third-party sources, right? If I I'm taking a look, if my alarm clock and seems to know like when did you get home last night and hit this, do you really want to start using all of those devices that are down in your kitchen, for example? Right?
Yeah.
Should I really have devices talking to one another and giving people advice? Only if we've got some data behind that, some big data to analyze.
And when we get you on the show next time, because we're out of time, we'll talk about the security of those devices too, because not only do we maybe not want to know too much information, but we certainly don't want others to know it all.
Absolutely, Dave. Look forward to doing that.
Love it. Meantime, IBM.com/electronics will get you to some of these things that we've been talking about, and the opportunity maybe even to harness the power of big data and check out the book as well.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks for joining us, Bruce Anderson, General Manager, IBM Global Electronics Industry, and of course, lots more to come. Be sure to visit us at intotomorrow.com. Links to all of our guest sites and this week's highlight video from IFA here in Berlin. We're back with more as Into Tomorrow continues from Berlin, Germany on the Advanced Media Network.